Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Halftime Roomies. We're discussing the start of the new Premier League season today. As always, I have my comrade Yashad Singh along with me, and we also have my brother George Joseph. So we've just finished watching Chelsea versus Liverpool. Yash, what is your first thoughts about the game?
I mean, Liverpool looks impressive. They've carried their form over from last season. Four goals last game, 2 goals today. It wasn't as exciting as we're used to or have become accustomed to watching Liverpool be, but you can clearly see that Mane and that midfield is set to dominate this whole season.
I think it was a good game towards the end. I think the turning point was definitely the red card just before halftime. I think before that, like teams were like almost evenly matched, and then of course that huge mistake from Kepa. I think Mane really seized on the opportunity, scored the goal, and pretty much then it was just all Liverpool dominating. I think Chelsea were holding back quite a bit after that. But all in all, I think the result which most people expected, and good to see Thiago finally come on and like show what he's like. He's a real deal in a way. So yeah, good game overall, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think genuinely, even though Chelsea have added so much to the squad this time, I think even before the red card, I think it was still tight, but you can still see that they have some ways to go, especially in the goalkeeping department. Do you think they're going to reinforce and get Mendy?
I think this game definitely highlights the need to bring in a new keeper. I think it's just a bit of lack of confidence on Kepa's part, and there's so much intense media focus on every little mistake he makes, and this kind of reinforces the need to bring someone else in. But like I think like when we were discussing it during the game itself, I think with so many new players coming into that team, like it really looks good on paper, but it'll take some time for these guys to gel, and you'll really probably see Chelsea hitting into a next gear probably be come November when all these guys come somehow gel together. Pulisic comes back into the team. That's when you'll see the real Chelsea. I think for the first few weeks it'll kind of be that, like you see Havertz also, you haven't lived up to that the tag that he came on with so much expectation from Leverkusen. He's kind of been off the pace, and that's understandable. It takes time to adjust to a new league. So yeah, I think the goalkeeping situation they will address. This game, if anything, has definitely highlighted the need to get a new one.
Do you think Chelsea going for Romero though is a smart business for them?
I think for them it would be a really good piece of business. I think at this point at United he's not going to make the squad anymore. They have Dean Henderson and they have De Gea, and I think United have a need to offload players too, and they're finding it difficult with Smalling and the other players so they basically need to get rid of that deadwood, and letting Romero go I think will at least reduce their wage bill, and they'll probably at least get in some money towards like their transfer coffers too. So I think it makes sense for both parties over there.
Yeah, it's I mean, they are carrying a lot of deadwood, and a lot of people have to be gone. But there have been some really stellar results from unexpected teams. I mean, Everton has surprised everyone. I mean, Ancelotti has really pulled off a masterclass.
For sure.
Spurs seem like a very strong team with Reguilon and Bale in the team now.
Yeah, coming in.
Leeds have scored 7 goals.
Yeah, insane, man. I think, but that's testament to Bielsa too. I think we shouldn't be sleeping on Leeds.
Yeah.
I think Leeds is the team to watch out, man. Yeah, George had told me to not include certain Leeds players in my fantasy Premier League team, which worked out disastrously for me after.
All the humanity and all the fans are just screaming around it.
Because the thing with Leeds is they've got scorers all across the. You see the previous game as well. Like goals came from midfield, it came from attack, it came from defense. So they have scorers all across. I don't think they'll have a person who'll score like 15 goals a season for them. Bamford's good, but he was good in the championship. Like to bring that form over to the Premier League is a whole different ball game altogether. They are exciting for sure. I think the way they're playing, I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds finish in the top 10. I think they'd, like, if you were looking at an outsider or a dark horse for the top 10 at least, I'd put Leeds in there.
I would
Very
be actually
impressive.
surprised if they even managed to get the 6th spot and Europa, because to
That's
be honest, I mean, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, the usual suspects will finish top 3, top 4.
Yeah.
but the way Everton, Spurs, Arsenal are set up, they could also have something. And then you have teams like Sheffield and Wolves as well.
Yeah.
But it's all dependent on Sheffield, Wolves doing well, Everton doing well in the long run. So the kind of work rate Leeds puts in,
Yeah.
it won't be surprising if they get 6. I'm not saying they will, but they just might.
If there's one team outside of the top 10, the traditional top 10 that the top 6 right now will be fearing is Leeds United.
Yeah.
Like I know Sheffield have their own strengths in playing very defensively, but Leeds just purely in the form of attack.
Yeah.
Teams will the top 6 will have to really think about how to set up defensively to counter Leeds on that front.
Scoring 3 goals against Liverpool that they did in the first week, that's not easy.
Yeah, for sure.
They're good at Titan side.
Who do you think the teams won't be fearing this time around from the top 6? And I'm going to nudge you in the direction of the club that we support.
United. And to be honest, I mean the way we have a good youth system set up. We have good young players in the squad, but this squad you can tell is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
The
for
way
sure.
they're playing.
I don't think we need to even be kind about it anymore.
Yeah, I mean-
I think this was honestly one of the worst performances I've seen from United. Showing no direction whatsoever. Martial, Rashford, just absolutely absent in games, when they're needed.
Martial is a liability. As much as people may want to hate on this,
Yeah,
he's no better than a bench player at this point.
for sure.
He scored 17 goals across the last season, but I think more than 10 goals came in the last 10 games.
Yeah,
That's not consistency. That was maybe the Bruno effect, which who knows might just fade away in this season because there's no bench strength, there's no reinforcements into the squad. We got Van de Beek, right? Good bargain buy and all that stuff, but that was not the priority we had to fill.
yeah.
We needed somebody on the wings. We needed somebody in centre back because Lindelof is, in my opinion, one of the worst centre backs we've had in a good 15-20 years.
Yeah, all 3 of those goals were his fault.
Yeah.
All 3 of them.
At some point, you have to stop blaming De Gea for letting goals slip through
For sure.
when the 4 people in front of him don't give a shit.
Yeah, honestly. And I think this has been a need that's been identified for a while now. People have said, okay, we need someone to help out Harry Maguire a little bit, and Lindelof is not that person.
Yep.
And I don't know whether it speaks to United's poor transfer strategy, but what do you think going forward? Do you think United are going to make any significant buys between now and October 5th?
I don't really see that happening, man. I mean, the thing is that we were heavily linked with Sancho. It looked like the deal would absolutely go through. It's been 2 months since. We were linked with a loan deal with Bale. He's gone. Reguilon's gone. Thiago we had links with. He's gone. Everyone we've been linked to has moved on to other teams. Sancho is one deal that keeps coming up. It doesn't look likely. Alex Telles from Porto. Okay, I mean, it's good to get backup and all, but we have 2 left backs.
Yeah.
It's again not the priority signing. We were not signing the guys that we actually need to sign. And Ferran Torres is gone, so that's another winger that's gone to City.
So
else is left?
who's available now?
I in my opinion, and I've been saying this for the last 5 or 6 months now, Ruben Diaz from Benfica should be the centre back we should be targeting. 23 years old, I think 6'2", 6'3", tall and fast guy, has skills, has the pace, can shoot as well. We should be going for him. I think teams are maybe sleeping on him, but there's nobody else that comes to mind because nobody's available now.
If you couldn't get Sancho and you were coming up close to the window, in his position, would you take Wilfred Zaha back as an option? He's scored 3 goals now in 2 games, and he's always been I know he couldn't cut it out at United, but then again the circumstances were very different when he joined. He had Moyes as a manager as opposed to Ole. Would you take him as an alternative to Sancho back at United?
What do you think?
I want to say yes, but I will say no because it's okay. Okay, Zaha is a massive step up over Daniel James or Lingard.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. But if you're willing to spend that, and at this point, Crystal Palace won't let him go for less than 60-65.
Yeah.
If you're willing to spend that much on Zaha, what's stopping you from spending that much on Sancho? And if you cannot get Sancho, do you really want to waste 60 million and then have the excuse of the board telling you that we spent the money? If they're not playing well, it's Oli's fault, or it's Zaha's fault, or it's the team's fault. Because eventually you can keep making those bargain signings and those signings to appease the fans.
Yeah.
But if they're not the right signings, it's just a waste of money, right?
Yeah, and I think even for United's, even for just their own commercial interests, I think commercial and football interests right now, I think they don't need like an incremental transfer. I think they need someone who's world class, and Jadon Sancho is world class. So I think you put in that little bit extra, and then you spend and get Jadon Sancho. But just parting question perhaps is, what do you think the transfer of the season has been so far?
So far, I'll actually let's start with George.
Okay,
It's
so
kind of tricky.
for me, so it's not like really like when you look at transfers, it's also a bit of signing on deals or extensions. So for me, the signing of the summer has been Aubameyang getting in for sure, man. I mean, like the thing is like, and you remember this? We had the episode which we shot right after the last game of the seasons were done, and what each team state would be going into the new season. And I'd mentioned back then as well, if we lose Aubameyang, we lose like 20 to 30 goals this season. Retaining him for us just gives us that extra sense of, surety that we have at least those many goals. And it kind of inspires other players who are aspiring to play for Arsenal to come back, that if they were able to hold on to their talisman. So for me, personally, I think that is the signing of the season. Who was the best transfer? If like an incoming player, there's been so many good players in all teams, but I think Thiago for Liverpool, man. I really think like initially you had those doubts that Liverpool had maintained the same squad and they were just about good, or with his inclusion in the team, and you saw bits of it today. That makes them so much more unbeatable this season. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I'll agree. I think right now, based on the one game that we've seen Thiago feature in, I think Thiago is probably the best transfer of the season or the best bargain buy. But I think over the long run, I think it's going to be Ferran Torres of City. I think Ferran Torres at 23 years old, and the way he's performed in Spain, he's going to replace David Silva and he's going to be there for the next 10 years if he does well.
I'm actually also very excited to see James Rodriguez, how that transfer plays out. I genuinely think Everton is going to be our dark horse for this season, and I think a big reason for that is James Rodriguez and how he'll possibly just pair up with Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, they make good signings. It's a team that you shouldn't take lightly anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that does it for us here at Halftime Roomies. We've wrapped up another episode. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and also on Facebook too.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do. Do you subscribe on Facebook? We should know this.
You like and follow.
You follow. 25 episodes in, we should have figured this out by now.
Please follow us, stalk us. We don't mind, but follow us.
Yes, and share with your friends and family also.
Yeah.
All right, peace out, guys.
Cheerio.